Welcome everybody to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. My name's Scott. I'm joined today by Stephen, and we're looking at the image assets and how image assets are used in Enterprise Architect. So good morning, Stephen. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm very well, Scott. I'm glad to be here.
So what are these image assets and how can we use them in Enterprise Architect?
Right. Thanks, Scott. Let's just take a reflection on the tool that we're using, Enterprise Architect. It is a tool for enabling people to model and to present presentations of those models to different audiences. And the languages that we use, and let's have an example of it, the languages that we use have syntax of their own. And you can see this class diagram has got your familiar rectangular shapes with compartments in them and names, and we've added some color there. But images can bring your models to life. Let's have a look at a diagram that has got some images in it in our deployment model, and you can see there that it has got images applied. Now, before we start, Scott, as always, we're going to set our perspective. I've been doing some work with UML profiles and the technology builder this morning, but I'm going to set the perspective to UML to focus on the work that we're doing. Enterprise Architect then focuses all aspects of the tool into just UML modeling. You go back home here. Let's just take a reflection as well. We did a previous video on the image manager. I just want to refresh people's mind about that. We've got settings here, the settings ribbon, the reference data panel, and images. And that brings up the image manager, which has got a whole range of images in it. And we can look through all of those, ranging from technical things, business things, financial things, basically something for everyone. And here you can see some of the images that we put in that we saw on the deployment diagram. But we're not going to be talking about the image manager today. I just wanted to mention it because it was a precursor to the image assets. And the image assets give you a lot more flexibility than the image manager. However, there are circumstances where you may need to use one over the other. But we're going to look at that. I just want to draw your attention here, Scott, before we leave this dialogue, to the little option here saying convert to image asset. So there is a relationship between things that are in the image manager and things that we're going to call image assets. Now, what's the fundamental difference? I'm going to close this without saving anything. The fundamental difference is that image assets are stored inside the browser. Both of them are inside the repository, but the image assets are inside the browser. And we've got a library here. We've got our structure for our parking meter system here, and we've got a libraries package here. Let's have a look at that. We've got image assets there. And if you look at that, we've only got one image asset in there, the parking meter. So that's an interesting thing. Let's see how we could use that if we were going to do a diagram. Let's go to our structural diagrams and let's create another class diagram here, and we'll call it new class diagram, and we'll call it class model meter focused.
Yeah.
So there it is there, and let's create that diagram. It's a type of class diagram, and the diagram is opened up. Now we hid our toolbox away before to give us some more canvas space. So that's a very good trick to do. I just want to show you that hasn't gone away completely. It's just hidden there. And watch what happens when I look at this parking meter here. I'm going to drag that onto the canvas. So we don't do that with the image manager. You saw that was a dialog box. We can drop it on there. We can say add as an element with an image, or add as a link. So let's just add it as a link for the moment. And there's our parking meter. It just comes up as an image. So incredibly useful. Let's just delete this one off the diagram for a moment. You can see it's still in there. Let's just put a class onto this diagram. And let's call it parking meter Mark II. So there's been a bit of work being done. This is the second generation parking meter. And now let's drag this image asset onto that element. So good practice, Scott, always drag into the middle of the element. Some people kind of, try and, target the side of it or something. With connectors as well, drop it into the middle. Now we've got a different option: set as alternate image, add as an element with an image, or add as a link. Now I want to set it as an alternate image.
Right.
Yeah. So drop that in. There's my parking meter. It's honoured the shape that I had. I can expand that out, holding the shift key down, keeping the aspect ratio the same. And there's my parking meter.
So that parking meter's a class, even though it looks different to a class?
Exactly right. Now I'm going to use something which again is a little button, a trick for for novice users or people starting to use the application. I'm going to select the element in the diagram and go over to the browser toolbar here, and I'm going to look at this one here, which is locate, find the context item. So the context item is one I've got selected, and there you can see it's a parking meter Mark II. And if you look over at the properties window, you can see that that's of type class.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a very useful thing. Now, where do I get these? Where do I get these image assets from? I've got one there, but how did I get it in to the browser? How do I start doing this thing? So one way you can start is going to the image manager, and I'll just select that. Make sure I've got that package selected. Go to the image manager, and we can find something in here that was representing our car. So can we find that car front blue? That was one of the icons, the elements that we created. So that's there. Let's do something to get this into an image asset. So I mentioned this when we first started this video, convert to image asset. So I'm going to click that one, and it gives me the option saying, do you wish to convert? You're about to convert this image into an image asset. It'll be placed in the currently selected package. It will no longer be available in the image manager. Yeah. So yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do, and that's what I'm expecting to happen. Okay, yes to that. You see over here, it came into the image assets there. I'm going to close the image manager. I don't need that anymore. And let's go to a diagram that we looked at earlier. Scott, we'll use our navigation again.
Yep.
We'll go into the UML structural diagrams, deployment diagram. And there you can see that there's a class for vehicle. Now that one again, where is that in the project browser? That's part of our class model. There it is there. Now what if I just get that car, the image asset now, and do the same thing, drag it on, select an alternate image, and there it is. So that's incredibly powerful. So if I wanted to, let's just say I wanted to do something different and say, look, I want to put a different type of car onto this. Well, let's have a look at this deployment diagram. I'm going to find this diagram in the project browser. Right mouse click on the diagram space, find in the browser, brings me down to the deployment. I'm going to look at this deployment model payment focus. So there we are there. And I've got my parking meter now. And maybe I want to put a different element on here. I want a different class. So, and I might want to make it a different color. So let's look at where we actually get a image asset. So we saw how we already had one in the project browser, which was our parking meter. Then we moved one from the image manager into it. But where do we, if we wanted to start from scratch, where do we get one from? And the answer is in this very useful toolbox page here, common elements. So again, a lot of novice users don't realize this is here, and there are very interesting elements in here, including notes and texts and all sorts of things. But we have an image asset there. So what
are they common to every single toolbox in Enterprise Architect?
Yeah, that's right, Scott. That one you want to have there, no matter which one you're changing from, a deployment diagram, a class diagram, that's going to be there available for you to add them, because they're common things. And we've seen in other videos where we've added legends and diagram notes and all sorts of things. In this one, where our focus is on the image asset. So let's just drag that from the toolbox onto from that toolbox onto the diagram. Now that pops up a select image from there.
So that happened automatically the minute you
that's
put
right.
it
As soon
on.
as I dropped it on, that did that. I'm going to make some more space on this screen here, and I'm going to just navigate to that space over here on the other screen, so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to choose a PNG file, And let me just have a look at that. Looking for that image. I'm just going to search for that image. It won't be a tick. Okay, I know the location of that one there. I'm just going to find that image. And Scott, you know, an organization's got the opportunity to build up a lot of different images for themselves and create different different image libraries and things. So just locating that image file system, I've got that selected. I'm going to go OK to that, and you can see now that image pops in to the diagram. So there it is there. I'm going to connect that car up with an association to the parking meter, and there it is there, and we've got our image. So where is this image located? Well, let's have a look at this. We want to actually change the name of that element there as well, and we may want to call it a different name, like car Mark 2 or something. So yeah, let's do that. But where is this image asset gone? So let's use our friend to locate that in the browser. I can right mouse click here and say find in project browser, but it's much easier, Scott, to use the little icon on the browser toolbar. So I'm going to click on that one, and there it is there, car Mark 2. So I'm going to now drag that and put it into my library. So I want to reuse that, and so there it is there. And I can, again, when it's in the library, someone might come along and say, hey, listen, we should be calling that a name where it's obvious to people that it's a green car.
Yeah.
But there it is there, and it's there. And if I click on that, it's going to find it in that diagram. Same with the parking meter one. With the parking meter one, it can pop up, and it pops up the image I can look at there.
Yeah.
So that's the image manager, Scott. Now the image assets. I mean, the advantage of it is that you've got these things right here in the inside the repository in your browser. Now I can just use those as well. For example, I can set the appearance on this one by saying appearance and saying select default image or select alternate image, and select image asset. So I'm going to select an image asset there, and look at what happens. It pops that up, finds the location where I've been recently. We choose parking meter, which is the image asset, and there it goes. When we resize that one, comes in at a useful larger size, and we can scale that down if we want to. So we did a similar thing with the image manager before when we went into appearance and we went select a default appearance, select an alternate image. But here we've got this option to select a image asset. So and you notice there as well, we've got the option of just showing the name under the image, which is a universal feature there, and we can show that. That can be quite useful.
So sometimes, if you wanted to get rid of that text for the green car, you could disable it as well.
Yeah, let's have a look at that, Scott, and going into here, hide name under the image there, and it's gone.
That's fantastic.
So sometimes it's useful to have it, on a diagram. If you're presenting to a executive level, you probably don't want it there. But if you're presenting to analysts and other people, it's a useful thing to have.
Yep. Excellent. Well, I'd like to thank all of our Sparx Systems YouTube audience for watching this video. I'd like to encourage everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel so you hear about all the latest videos. Feel free to leave comments if you have any questions about the videos, if you have any ideas for future topics. We love to hear from you, and be sure to like the video so that the fantastic YouTube algorithms select us and offer us to other people. It's really great to have you present on the image assets looks like a really powerful tool for telling stories and for visual communication. So thanks very much, Stephen. Appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure, Scott.
Thank you.